Hi guys, Bolt here. Today I want to go over the Russians in the Annihilation mod. I am going to go over this kind of relatively quickly. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much time on it. So yeah, just pay attention. All right, grab some. Jesus Christ, grab some tea. I was dying there for a second. Grab some tea or coffee. Not any drugs. Don't do any weird things, because we're gonna try to blow through this in like 30 minutes. So let's start off with the logistics. So basically what this mod does, once again, it brings both Russia and America, with more nations following soon, to modern times. So you won't have like 50s units being played with. You won't have some weird prototype units. So it's all familiar to us, and they are things that are being used by these nations right now. And fun fact, I actually recorded this entire thing already, but it did not record my voice, so I'm doing this again. Anyways, so in the logistics, I can't believe I'm doing this again. We have the BMD-2K. I'm not really going to go over these units in too many details. It's basically just some armored vehicles that are also commands. So you have some 30mm, some Conquerors M's. The cool thing is, though, that I really want to make a point of is most vehicles now you can also transport with helis. So that's really nice. We have a T-72 BK and also a T-90 AK. My voice is dying. So these are tank commands. Really good stats on these. 125mm cannons on these as well, in case you need them. Now, besides that, we have some gas, BRDMs, and the BTR-80s. And all of these, guys, please go to Patreon and fund my throat healthcare with just $1 a month, please. And then we have some command infantry. And the cool thing is, once again, all of these are available to you in different types of vehicles. We have FOBs that are also transportable by heli. So you can actually unload a FOB anywhere on the battlefield. So if you're trying to do a sick flank, you can get a FOB there. Now, speaking of supplies, we also have cargo trucks, we have helicopter supplies, and more cargo trucks. Now, the Infantry Tab is the one that is definitely the most interesting, I would say. We have the 106 Guard Airborne Division. These guys have the AK-12, RPG-28, and the Igla-1D. And while you guys kind of go over the stats, I'm just going to drink this tea here. There we go. Yeah, look at that anti-tank, 30 AP on that, but really close range. So don't really expect to snipe enemy tanks with this. You're not going to do that. But yeah, and also the Igla-1Ds, good accuracy, sure, but the range, man, you might as well just throw stones at the enemy helicopters. Anyways. In terms of transports, it's actually a cool amount of variability here. So we have basic trucks, we have the robot, we have the Screwjet, BMD-3, and BMD-4. Now the BMD-3 and the BMD-4 are the coolest upgrades, or vehicles, I would say. So BMD-3 has the 30mm and the Conquerors M. Really nice stats on these. And then the BMD-4 has the R cannons, and it also has a 100mm. Now the 100mm is all HE, so perfect for fire support. Against infantry, but it also has the R-cans if you're up against tanks. Now we have the Rakushas, which is basically a PKT carrying vehicle. We have the Mi-8 MT, Mi-8 MTV, and the Mi-8 AMTSH. So quite a lot of vehicles you can choose to play with. So next up we have Garner's Reliquies. So these guys have AKs, the Metis M, and the Cord. Now the Cord is not overpowered, I would say. So the rate of fire is quite high for 12.7mm, but the range is only 1 kilometer. And you'll be within range of almost, you'll be almost in range of most enemy LMGs. But these guys are really fun to play with. Now the Metis M is a really nice ATGM, 60% accuracy and 23 AP. Not the best at all in this game, for sure, but it's nice to have. And in terms of vehicles, it is all the same with the exception of these BTRs. So we have BTR-80s with a KBVT, BTR-82A with a 30mm, and the BTR-90 with the 30mm, Conquerors M, and also the 30mm grenade launchers. Now, speaking of grenade launchers, we have the Granatometnaya Grupa. These guys carry the 30mm AGS-30, really good infantry with very good stealth. It's kind of sick. Yeah, it's really good. People are really annoyed when you use this unit because it has good stealth, and they just kind of wreck infantry before the enemy gets in the buildings, which makes sense, right? Like, grenade launcher is going to ruin your day. Now, in terms of vehicles, it is all familiar already, so nothing new there. Then we have the Morskia Desantnikis, and if you're a Steel Division 2 player, you will know this name will be familiar, because there you have the Tanko Desantnikis, which is one of the assault infantry. So these guys are shock trained, 50 men strong. They have the AK-74, RPG-27, and the RPK-74. So the anti-tank, once again, is really close range, but it has decent stats, so 21 AP and 20 rounds per minute. So not too bad at all. In terms of vehicles, once again, it is all familiar. Now then you have the meat shield. We have Motor Strelikis, really bad infantry, I would say. Regular training, 10-man teams. They have AKs, RPG-7s, and PKMs. But they're only 10 points, and with this transport, the truck, they're 11 points. So you can really fill the gaps on your front line. Other than that, they have the same vehicles except for a few new ones. K-16 Boomerang, which carries a cord. But then the K-17 Boomerang, which is 50 points, carries Coronet M missiles, ATGMs, with 3,150 meters range and 29 AP, which is insane. Okay, and besides that, we have the BMP-2D with the Conkers, basic Conkers, BMP-2 OBR, which has also the same 30mm, but it has Conkers M, and then we have the BMP-3, which is the same as the other one. So we have the Arcan, the 30 and 100mm. And we have a bunch of Kurganets, which aren't really that special, but they do have really good armor. So Kurganets APC with a cord, then we have the Kurganets 25 with the 30mm and a Coronet M. I don't know why I didn't just call the Kurganets 30 because of the 30mm, but you know what? Yeah, there must be a reason, right? Now then we have a bunch of other support units. We have the Conkers M teams, just the basic Conkers M, 2450 range with 23 AP, nothing too special. Then we have the Cornets, which is a buff, 2800 meters range and 28 AP with 65% accuracy. Really, really good ATGM units. We have Iglas. Please don't use these. Use the Verbas, 2625 meters range and 85% accuracy. And in terms of transports, it is all identical. Now then we have Spetsnaz, and obviously these guys are really good at destroying enemy infantry. So the Vimpels here fire napalm, and besides that you have the AK-15 and the PKP Pecheknek, which was honestly one of my favorite weapons to use in Arma 2. Now in terms of transport, all the same, but you also get them in the Mi-35 with attack of Vs, 2800 meters range and 27 AP on these bad boys. And they also come in Zodiacs, so in boats, so you can do some cool river attacks. Now last but not least, we have VDVs in this deck as well, or with this nation. And the VDVs come with AK-12s, RPG-7s, and also the PKP Pecheknek. They have better range with their RPG, but less rate of fire and less AP compared to, for example, the 106 here. No, not the 106. Well, also the 106, but I was gonna go for something like this, the Desantnikis, which have really nice AP and rate of fire, but horrible range. So yeah, that's the infantry tab. Let's go to the support tab. We got a lot of units here to discuss. We have two variants of the Tunguska, so we have the M and the M1 variant, and nothing really changes except for the surface-to-air missile. So it goes from 2975 and 70% accuracy, and 6 HE it goes to 3150, 75, and 7. So it's just an overall upgrade of the surface-to-air missile. The gun and everything else is literally the same. You do get an increase in air detection from good to very good. Everything else is identical. Yep, it looks identical. So then we have a new unit here that you're definitely not familiar with yet, which is the Panzer S1. And if we just compare the Tunguska M1 to the Panzer S1, we can see that it's better in every way. The cannon is literally the same, but the surface to air is an upgrade. Goes from 3150 to 3675 with 80% accuracy, and in this case also stabilizer, so you can fire this thing on the move. And once again, this vehicle can be carried in helicopters. Let's go over the other AA first. So we have the... Actually, let's just go through the list. We have the Acacia artillery. Nothing too special, it kind of just speaks for itself. We have the Tulpan, which is a 240mm mortar. That is insane. 18 kilometers range on that thing. This thing is nuts, okay? It's absolutely nuts. And if you don't know, like 240mm, 24 centimeters, and in inches, that's like less, that's about 9.5, a little bit less than 9.5. Let's actually find out. Hey Siri, how many inches is 240mm?
240mm is 9.45 inches.
Goddamn, I am smart. I mean, that's really easy. 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. So just do the math, guys. Come on, I can be the only one here. So then we have the Lotus, the 120mm, also can be carried by Mi26. We have the Vasilic, also can be carried by Mi26. And as you know, this is a fast-firing mortar piece. Basically fires all the rounds before the first one lands. Then we have the Nona, and everyone knows this. No pun intended. We have the Malka, super accurate, slow-firing, big old gun, 203mm. We have some rocket vehicles, the Grad, which we're already familiar with, the Organ, which we're already familiar with. But then we have some new units, the Buck M2, with 3,500 meters range on helis, 5,500 on airplanes, 70% accuracy, which gets an upgrade with the Buck M3. But the Buck M3 can fire at helis, but it has an extra kilometer on airplanes, and an extra 15% accuracy on them as well. One less HE. So whereas the Buck M2 might actually one-tap crits an airplane, this one might not be. Maybe that's a main difference here. We also have the Iskander, 610mm cruise missiles basically, or ground-to-ground, surface-to-surface missiles. It fires 2 of them with 30 HE. It's absolutely nuts. So in terms of artillery, we also have the Musta. Is that a 5 or a 6? I think that's a... I don't know. Musta here. Good range on it, good HE as well. But if you want something more accurate and more hard-hitting, get the Koalitzia here, which has basically unlimited range and really good dispersion. Now, we have kind of the sick AA vehicles. The S300 Gargoyle with 9 kilometers range, 60% accuracy, and then we have the PMU2 variant with another kilometer extra and 10% more accuracy. They're insane. You don't get a lot of these though, and they're really expensive. Now next we have the S350 Vts, which is kind of like a middle ground. It has less range on airplanes, but it has much better accuracy. It goes to 90% accuracy. But then we have the beast AA pieces, the S400s. We have the basic, so the Growler and the Triumph. The Growler has 11 kilometers range and 80% accuracy, whereas the Triumph goes to 14 kilometers range and 80% accuracy as well. So it's kind of insane. And this is honestly the best unit model that we could use for this. So let's see what else we have. So in terms of infrared, we just have the basic Strela here. So the Strela 10M4. Just don't touch these units, please. They're horrible. We have the Buratino with 6 kilometers range. We have the Tor M2 Gauntlet, which is really good against helicopters. 3,325 meters range on them. 80% accuracy and 70 stabilizer. We have the Arctic Tor, which is kind of an upgrade in terms of accuracy and stabilizer, but a downgrade in ranges. But it also carries more missiles. And it's amphibious. Now next we have Uragans, which is another rocket vehicle. This thing fires HE cluster, and this thing, the Smerch, fires AP cluster. And we have the Shilka, which tries to be part of the group as well. Oh man, my voice is dying. We're 15 minutes in. Oh boy. So, man, that cannon turns quick. We're gonna start off the tanks with the Sprut SDM1. 125mm cannon on this bad boy, 65% accuracy and 21 AP. Really, really good actually for its price. And it has Invar ATGM, 60% accuracy and 24 AP on this. Now, besides that, as I've said, you can carry these guys in helicopters. So you can do some cool flanks with these. I was kind of preoccupied there. I was zoning out hard. So, in terms of actual tanks, we have the T-14 Armada, which is the heaviest of the heaviest you can get in the Russians, which makes sense. 25 front armor, 15 side armor. This thing is nuts. Okay. It has a 125mm cannon with 26 AP and 75% accuracy gun. It's nuts. Okay. Alright. Got that? And it has the Invar M80 gems. So 25 AP and 26 AP on all of its weapons. Kind of a nuts unit. Really fast off-road as well, 80 kilometers per hour. Now we also have some basic tanks, the T64 BV, which we're already familiar with. Not good, not horrible. A good fire support, I would guess. We have the T80U OBR92. Slight upgrade, basically slightly better gun, slightly better ATGM, well, much better ATGMs, and much better front armor. So this would be kind of like a lower end of the mid-class tanks with the Russians right now. We have the T72 BA95. Decent gun on it, 18 AP. So at close range, this thing will definitely clap. We have the B3 variant, which is a 65% accuracy, 22 AP gun, and it has the Invar M as well, just like the T14. And then we have the T72 B3M, which has the basic Invars, but a really good cannon, 23 AP on that thing. So you get a better gun, but less. Actually, these Invars are HE, so it can fire at infantry, which can be really good for fire support. Then we have a bunch of T80s, T80B, T80BV, and the T80BVM. These two, the T80B and the BV, are good for fire support for infantry. The BVM will actually also kill tanks with 23 AP on the gun and these Invar Ms. Now last we have two T90 variants, the T90A and the T90M. Now both of these have a good gun, 22 and 23 AP, 65 and 70% accuracy, really decent. And they have the Invar and the Invar M. So both are the AP variants. Goes from 24 to 25 AP and slightly better range with the higher price T90. Now in terms of armor, it's also kind of a nice upgrade from 22 to 24 and from 10 to 12. Now in terms of recon, there's a lot of really cool units to choose from. Now let's start off with the Alpha Group. So the Alpha Group is a recon infantry. They carry the AS-Val, which is really good at close range. They have the RPG-28, once again, horrible range, but amazing AP on it. And 20 rounds per minute. And it also has the SVDM 7.62mm sniper. So yeah, really powerful recon unit. Now in terms of vehicles, it's mostly the same, but it also comes in the Mi-35, the Hind, and also boats. And in terms of recon, these units have very good optics and exceptional stealth, and they're elite training and 5-man teams. So you can use them in towns. I wouldn't recommend it. I would more use them like at the edge of towns, like just behind maybe the front line, as a support team, because those snipers will actually wreck infantry pretty quickly. So we also have some vehicles. We have the BRDM-3 here, which is a good optic, medium stealth recon vehicle. It's also amphibious, 150 kilometers per hour on road, so just a good overall recon vehicle. We have the BRM-1K, so nothing really special here. I would just really look at the optics and stealth. There are some really cool, interesting units though, such as the BRM-3K here, which has Cornet Ms with 29 AP. Very good optics, medium stealth. This thing is kind of sick, honestly. So we have the Mi-8. We also have some recon helis. Mi-8, K-27, and Mi-24. Now the K-27 is actually really good. 4 of these really good ATGMs, but they actually have HE. So from a range, you could really rain down some fire on infantry and towns and dislodge them really easily with those. Next up, we have the Orlan 10, which is recon for airplanes, I would say. Very good air detection, good stealth. But we also have a recon drone. Now, as I've probably mentioned, we can adjust character models, so this is actually not how an Orion male looks like, thankfully. But yeah, so yeah, the Orion male, just look at the cards here instead. Very good air detection, medium stealth, but it has 4 of these Vickers 1s, which can fire at both ground targets and helicopters. Now next up we have some Razvedkas, so basic recon units with the AK-12, RPG-7VR, and the RPK-74. I wouldn't really worry about the stats too much, but they have very good optics and very good stealth, and they're shock troops as well. In terms of vehicles, it's all already familiar units, including the BMP-3 here, which has the Arcans and the 30 and 100 millimeter. Oh boy, I can feel the throat. Now then we have the Sniperskaya Komanda. As the name suggests, they're sniper teams. Now they have the VSS, which is already a... well, it's not really... is it a sniper IRL? Is it designated as a sniper? I'm not quite sure. It's just a long... it's just an AS valve with a longer tube, I would say. But anyway, so... I wouldn't really call it a sniper rifle. But anyways, it is in this case, so 1,000 meters range on the sniper rifle, but these guys also have the OSV-96, which is a 50, 12.7 millimeter to be exact, at 1.5 kilometers range. These guys have exceptional optics and exceptional stealth. So these are more designed for fire support or to flank around and just wreck enemy artillery or commands. Obviously, it wouldn't be Russia without Spetsnaz GRU. Now, in terms of anti-tank weapons, these guys carry the Metis M1, which is insane. So almost 2 kilometers range with 65% accuracy and 26 AP. So they kind of remind me of, what's the name? In vanilla, there's this infantry team, 10-man squads that have this Metis M1. I kind of forgot the name. It starts with a G or something? I don't know. But yeah. It kind of seems similar to that unit, but these guys are elite training and 15-man squads with very good optics and stealth. So that's for a recon unit, guys. So just let that sink in. You have a 15-man squad that has very good optics, insane weaponry, and very good stealth and elite training. Really, really pricey. And like, Jesus Christ, if you go for the Mi-35, that's 155 points for one squad. Now we also have some UAZ Recon, a Gaz Tiger Recon, and the Gaz Tiger M. Basically, they go from having no weapons to having a 30mm grenade launcher to having a 30mm cannon. And in terms of optics, it goes from very good to very good again. So not too bad. Now in the vehicles, we already kind of went over all of this. Now in the armory just shows all of the transports as well, but one new unit is the Terminator. Which is kind of a... it's like built on the T-72 chassis, I believe, and I would really recommend you guys to look up some videos. I don't know if you can see this here, but it's a T-72 chassis with like a turret on top that has ATGMs on the ends here, and then a double cannon here in the middle, and it's insane. It's so powerful. It's sick. But yeah, this thing has 19 front armor, 11 side. It has a 30mm autocannon, it has the attack ATs, and a dual 30mm grenade launchers. And everything else here is mostly the same. We do have some cool ATGM vehicles. So we have the Cornet D, which fires HE guided missiles, so these guys are perfect against infantry. And we have the Cornet M, which fires the AP variants with 29 AP. We're at really good range, 3150. It doesn't end there. We have the base Sturm S, or 5, I really love using these units. Attack of VMs with 3 kilometers range, 27 AP. And we have the Chrysanthemas with 2800 meters range and 29 AP on the Chrysanthema M ATGMs. They're fire and forget, by the way. Fire and forget. Now let's go to the helis. We have a Ka-29. Really, like, it's basically the most basic heli you can get here. 30mm cannon on it, 122mm rockets, and it has the Kokon Ms. Then we have a bunch of Akulas or KA variants. We have the KA-50 and the KA-52. So Akula and Alligator. Now the Akula is basically the poor man's KA-50. It has 4 of these Igla-Vs. Really not good, let's be real. It has 20 of these rockets and it has a 30mm, whereas the Alligator has 12 of these Vickers that are multi-purpose. So they fire at both ground targets and at helicopters with basically the same accuracy, but it's multi-purpose. So it has better HE, but also AP value. But then we have the Catran, which, if we compare the Alligator to the Catran, whereas the Alligator has 12 of these multi-purpose ones, the Catran only has 6, but it has 8 dedicated air-to-ground ATGMs on top of that. Okay, so this would be double multi-purpose, I guess. It has multi-purpose ones, but also air-to-ground specific ATGMs, whereas this is multi-purpose all over. Now then we have some familiar names. Mi-24 VP here, which carries the Kokon M. Really bad helicopter, let's be real. It could be good as fire support because of the rockets, but it's horrible. It's not really good. A slightly better variant is the VM here with 25 AP, but still horrible accuracy and stabilizer. So just to use these as a last resort, I would say. We have the Mi26 Supplies, 2 variants here, or just transports, not supply trucks or helis, but transports. We have the Mi28A Havoc with Attack of Vs, really powerful air-to-ground ATGMs. Then we have the Havoc here, which basically has the Attack of VMs, which is slightly better range, accuracy, and stabilizer. Then we have the Mi28 NM Night Hunter, which has even better accuracy and stabilizer and AP, slightly less range, but the rockets are also much more accurate. Now we have the Mi35 M Hind with the Attack of Vs. Now this is something I would be tempted to put in the deck. So it's not too pricey, yet it has good air-to-ground missiles. It only has 4 of them though, so maybe this would be just one to kind of buff your lines with. Then we have the Mi8 transports that we already had in the Infantry tab here. So we're almost there, and I know one part of my body that's going to be very happy with this. Don't go there. Don't go nasty. It's my throat, okay? Because I've been talking for like an hour and a half straight now. So we start off with the mainstay, and this is a jammer plane. So it is it's a support plane. It can jam both AA and airplanes. So what it does is it doesn't damage them, but it damages them emotionally. Okay, so every time it jams, there's a chance that it's gonna go from calm to worried, from worried to panicked, from panicked to stunned, and that kind of stuff. And that's the way this unit works. So it's really, really fun to play. Really long range, so you just kind of circle this around at your spawn. Now, in terms of fighters, we have the MiG-29, well, not really a fighter I would say, but a MiG-29 KR Volcrum, which is an air-to-ground plane, so it has 3,500 meters range on these AGMs, these air-to-ground missiles. 55% accuracy and stabilizer and 29 AP. So if it hits, it's going to do damage, but that's not the best accuracy, let's be real here. In terms of air-to-air, it has 4 of these R74 Sidewinders with 4 kilometers range. Decent accuracy and AP though, or stabilizer. Now we have an upgraded variant here, the MiG-35D Volcrum F. Better accuracy and stabilizer on the air-to-ground, and they're also fire and forget this time. And it has now long-range air-to-air missiles, so 8 kilometers range, 75% accuracy and stabilizer, and the Sidewinders are, I believe, a slightly downgrade, but that doesn't really matter in this case. Now then, we have an upgrade in every way. We have the Su-34 Fullback A. Now this thing has 5 kilometers range on its fire and forget air-to-ground. It has basically, it has the same, is it the same? Well, in terms of the general statistics on the air-to-air, it's actually the same, but it has more HE. So it goes from 5 to 7. And the close range ones have a slightly better range and slightly better accuracy and stabilizer. So it's a really good plane to use here. Then we have the Mig-31 Bsm Foxhound. Quite familiar with this unit, I would say. 1100 kilometers per hour though, so this is the fastest airplane in this mod, I believe. It has 6 of those 14 kilometer range air-to-air missiles, 50% accuracy and stabilizer, so not too accurate as a means to balance it. And the MiG-31 is one scary plane. Then we have the S-70 Ochotnik with 2 of these top attack cluster bombs, so 20 AP on these bombs, on these guided bombs at 5 kilometers range. That's going to ruin your day. Then we have the Su-57 Felon A, which is a fighter, so it has 4 of these 10 kilometer air-to-air missiles and 2 of these short range air-to-air missiles, but really good ECM at 60, good stealth and exceptional air detection. It's kind of sick. And the Su-57 just looks gorgeous. But the Su-34 is my favorite, I would say, the fullback. Now then we have the Su-24. These are just some bombers. So we have AP, so top attack AP bombs, cluster. Then we have the Su-24 Fencer D with HE. Then we have the Su-34 fullback, which kind of combines both. So we have 6 HE and 6 cluster bombs. We have the Su-24 MP Fencer F, which is a seed plane. So it has 12 kilometers range on the jammer. I believe this is the jammer part of it. And it has 2 of these seed missiles that it can target those AA vehicles with. Where are we? There we go. Then we also have the Volcrum D, which kind of is like a multi-purpose plane. So it has these long-range R-77 air-to-air missiles. It also has 4 of these seed missiles. Good ECM, very good air detection, poor stealth though. So that is one thing that these seed planes don't have. Or that most of these planes don't have. We have the Se34 Nvo Fullback, and this is definitely my favorite. It has really good seed missiles, 11,000 meters range, 70% accuracy and stabilizer. It has 4 of these really long range air-to-air missiles, and it has 2 of these shorter range air-to-air missiles, 65% accuracy. It's insane. So we have the Frogfoot, which we're already familiar with, right? 4 of these air-to-ground, well, I should say anti-tank missiles, so 55% accuracy and stabilizer, 29 AP. They are not fire and forget though, so you need to kind of keep it on there like an A10. Then we have the Su-25 SM2 Grok, which has the fire and forget variants with 65% accuracy and stabilizer. Same range, so it's just an overall upgrade, but also carries the Vickers with 3150 meters range and 27 AP. And if that doesn't kill it, you also have some giant 9.45 inch rockets. Now we're almost there. We have the Su-27 SM3 Flanker B, which is all fighter oriented. So it has 4 of these 7 kilometers range air-to-air missiles. It has 2 of these 6.5 kilometer range air-to-air missiles, but much better accuracy. And it has 2 of these short range ones with good accuracy as well. Now from that we go to an Su-30 SM Flanker C, which basically has better, it has better long range air-to-air missiles. So it goes from 7 kilometers. It stays at 7 kilometers, but it has better accuracy and stabilizer. It has more of them, so that is one thing, but it has less HE. So the 27 SM3 Flanker B kind of reminds me of the MiG-25 PD in vanilla. Then we have the Su-35 S Flanker E, which basically just dwarfs them both, with almost 10 kilometers range on these and 8 kilometers on these 8 R-77 ones. That's insane. Su-30 M2 Flanker C, Really familiar or similar to these airplanes, but it also has four of these guided bombs. Then we have the Fullback B, which carries 3 of these laser guided HE bombs with 35 HE. It's nuts. Okay, it's nuts. But in terms of like air to air, most of them are quite similar. They just have like different variants. We have the SU-33 Flanker D here. 8 kilometers range on the R27 here with 75 accuracy and stabilizer. Quite good, 7 HE. And it also has the same slightly downgraded variants with less range, accuracy and stabilizer. And everything else is basically the same. Now last we have the Tu-95 M5 Bear. We have the Bear Bomber with basically cruise missiles. It fires 8 of these KH-65 SE that just will ruin someone's day somewhere. They are not too accurate, so they don't actually hit where you target. They kind of just hit a range around where you target, so you will get some friendly fire sometimes, which is a means to kind of balance these, because otherwise they're just OP, right? But yeah, so that is it. Luckily this time I did not forget to record, because I would just end my throat's existence. Yeah, check it out. Check out the mod. There's a link in the description. It'll lead you to the Discord. There you can download and install the mod. You can also chat with people that play the mod as well and get some games going. And if you enjoyed this video, please do like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys back in the next one. Bye!